As we started earlier with chapter number 16, we found out how or what are the different methods that can be used in order to allocate the joint costs onto the different products, whether they are byproducts or whether they are joint products or a main product. Today let us start inshallah with solving some of the problems in order to see how are these methods used. Let us start with problem 1628. Problem 1628. Who would like to read for us this problem? Page number 601. Yes, who would like to read? Go ahead.
Comparison of alternative joint cost allocation methods. Further processing decision. Chocolate products. The chocolate factory manufactures and distributes a chocolate product. It purchases cacao beans and processes them into two intermediate products: chocolate powder, liquor base, and milk chocolate liquor base. These two intermediate products became separately identifiable at a single split off point. Every 1,500 pounds of cacao beans yield 60 gallons of chocolate powder liquor base and 90 gallons of milk chocolate liquor base.
Therefore, the chocolate powder liquor base, how much is the physical attribute?
1,500 pounds yield 60 gallons of chocolate powder liquor base.
60 pounds and
90 milk chocolate liquor base.
90 pounds also?
Gallons.
90 gallons.
The chocolate powder liquor base is further processed into chocolate powder. Every 60 gallons of chocolate powder liquor base yields 600 pounds of chocolate powder.
تمام. فبالتالي according to problem 1628, we found the following information. First of all, we have this company manufactures or processes cacao beans into two different products: the chocolate powder liquor base and the milk chocolate liquor base. Of course, the processing of the cacao beans, or 1,500 pounds to be exact, of cacao beans would yield the 60 gallons of the first product and 90 gallons of the second product. The first have a price of $21 per gallon, and the second have a price of $26 per gallon. Of course, as we can see here, this is a joint process. Why? Because this, or the processing of cacao beans, would yield two different products after the split-off point. Therefore, the problem here is how to allocate the 30,000 onto the different products that are yielded from the same process. Of course, according to our question also, we are going to further process our first product and also our second product. Therefore, the 60 gallons of the chocolate powder liquor base would be further processed by incurring $12,750 into chocolate powder. Of course, that 60 gallons would yield 600 pounds of the chocolate powder, of course, after further processing. Each pound of chocolate powder would be sold by the amount of $4. Now let us go to the second product. The milk chocolate liquor base, or the 90 gallons of this product, would be further processed by incurring $26,250. Of course, after the further processing, the 90 gallons would yield 1,020 pounds of milk chocolate. Of course, each pound of this milk chocolate would be sold by $5 per pound. As we can see here, this is an illustration. This is a summary of all the information that is given within the question. Of course, we know the joint cost. We know the amount that is processed of cacao beans. We know the sales value after the split-off point. We know the quantity of the different products after the split-off point. We designated the separable cost that is needed to further process these products. And also we found out the quantities of the further processed products and also the sales value of these different products. Therefore, now according to the question, in requirement number 1, we need to allocate the 30,000 joint costs, which is the main point of our discussion, or the main point of this chapter, is how to allocate the $30,000 as joint costs. Of course, we need to allocate them onto the chocolate powder liquor base and onto the milk chocolate liquor base in order to exactly calculate the cost of these different products. Therefore, in order to allocate the joint costs, we have different methods to be used. The first is the sales value at the split-off point, and of course, according to our question, the requirement or they require from us to use all of the methods that have been discussed earlier in this chapter. Therefore, we are going to allocate first of all using the split-off point or the sales value at the split-off point. We are going to use the physical measure method, we are going to use the NRV method, and we are going to use the constant gross margin NRV method. Let us start first of all by using the sales value at the split of point method. Of course, as we said, that we are going to allocate the 30,000 according to the saleable value, according to the realizable value of these products directly after the split-off point. Of course, one point that have been missed here, that we didn't say it, that according to the question, they said that the amount that was processed of cacao beans was not the 1,500 pounds, but it was 15,000 pounds. And of course, as we can see here, the 15,000 is 10 times more than the 1,500. Therefore, if the 1,500 would yield 60 gallons and 90 gallons, the 15,000 pounds would yield 10 times more the 60 gallons and 10 times more the 90 gallons. Therefore, we would yield, or the 15,000 pounds would yield 600 gallons and 900 gallons. Therefore, we would multiply by 10. And of course, if the 60 gallons would yield 600 pounds, the 600 gallons will yield 6,000 pounds. And here the 90 gallons, if the 90 gallons would yield 1,020 pounds, therefore the 900 gallons would yield 10,200 pounds. Of course, this is the point according to the question, and of course, according to our question, they gave us these quantities, but if the question did not give us these quantities, we would deduct these or deduce these amounts from the main process or from the main wording of the question itself. Therefore, now let us start with our first method, the sales value at the split-off point. So what do you think we need to do now in order to allocate the 30,000? Calculate the sales value when? After the further processing or after the split-off point?
After the split-off point.
Exactly. Therefore, the sales value at the split-off point method would first of all calculate the sales value of the different products and the sales value for the total production in order to calculate the percentages of the sales value of each product to the total sales value. Therefore, the sales value of total production would be as follows. Of course, we have two different products. The first is the chocolate powder liquor base, and the second is the milk chocolate liquor base. And of course, we would have the total for both products. We would start at the sales value at the split off point. What would be for the first product, or the chocolate powder liquor base? It would be 600 gallons multiplied by 21. Therefore, 600 multiplied by $21, which would equal 12,600. Now, for the milk chocolate liquor base, the sales value would be 900 gallons multiplied by the selling price per gallon. Therefore, 900 multiplied by $26. Therefore, it would be 23,400. Of course, the total of these two, the 23,400 and the 12,600, would yield $36,000. Of course, after calculating the sales value at the split off point, we will use this information in order to calculate the percentage of the sales value of the first product from the total sales value of the production, and calculate the percentage of the sales value of the second product from the total sales value of total production. Therefore, the weight would be as follows: 12,600 divided by 36,000, which would equal 35%. And here, 23,400 divided by 36,000, which will yield 65%. Of course, adding these two up should always give us the 100%. Now, we will use these weights in order to distribute the 30,000 onto the two products, or the two joint products. Therefore, the allocated joint costs would be $30,000 multiplied by 35%, which would equal 10,500. And the second would be $30,000 also, but now multiplied by 65%, which would equal 19,500. Of course, always these two should add up to $30,000 because we are distributing the 30,000. Therefore, adding up these two amounts would most definitely yield the 30,000 back again. Any questions? Of course, this is the first method, using the sales value at the split off point in order to allocate the joint costs. Any questions? Now let us consider the second method, which is the physical measure method. Of course, according to the physical measure method, we are going to allocate the costs using the physical attributes. Therefore, we are going to allocate the 30,000 joint cost not by the saleable value, but using the number of gallons that is produced from this production. Therefore, we are going to use the 600 gallons and the 900 gallons in order to allocate our costs. the physical measure method would start by the physical attribute. Of course, the chocolate powder liquor base would yield 600 gallons. And the milk chocolate liquor base would have 900 gallons. Of course, adding these two up, 600 and 900, would yield 1,500 gallons. Therefore, processing 15,000 pounds of cacao beans would yield 600 pounds of the first product, 600 gallons of the first product, and 900 gallons of the second product. Therefore, we are going to use these amounts, which are the physical attributes, which are the number of gallons here, in order to allocate the 30,000 pounds, dollars. Therefore, now we need to calculate the weight. Of course, the weight is calculated according to the percentage of the 600 gallons from the total number of gallons that was produced. Therefore, 600 divided by 1,500 would equal 40%. And here 900 divided by 1,500 would yield 60%. Of course, the total should always be 100%. Now we need to allocate the joint cost. Therefore, the joint cost allocated, the 30,000 would be allocated by the amount of 40% for the first product and the 60% for the second product. Therefore, 30,000 multiplied by 40%, which would equal $12,000, and $30,000 multiplied by 60% would equal $18,000. Of course, always the total between the two should equal the amount that is being allocated, which is in this case the $30,000. As we can see here, we use the physical attributes in order to allocate the joint cost, not as the sales value method where we use the saleable value at the split off point or after the split off point in order to allocate our joint costs. Any questions? Now let us consider the NRV method, the net realizable value. Therefore, according to the NRV method, we are going to use what exactly in order to allocate our joint costs? Excellent. We are going to calculate the net realizable value for the first product and for the second product. How we are going to calculate the net realizable value for these two different products? We are going to find out, first of all, what is the amount of the final sales of the first product. Of course, after further processing, we would then deduct the separable costs in order to calculate the net realizable value of this product. And of course, we are going to do the same for the second product. Therefore, first of all, we need to calculate the NRV for the two different products. Therefore, in order to calculate the NRV or the net realizable value, we need to start with the final sales value. Of course, the final sales value for the first product after further processing is 6,000 pounds multiplied by $4. This is the final sales value. Therefore, 6,000 multiplied by $4, of course, $24,000. For the second product, 10,200 pounds multiplied by the $5.
51,000.
It would yield $51,000. Of course, the total would be 51 plus 24, $75,000. Do we allocate the joint costs using these amounts? Is this the net realizable value? Of course, we need to now deduct the separable costs in order to approximate the sales value immediately after the split off point. Yani this method tries to approximate, tries to get the best amount or the best value of the sales value after the split off point immediately by deducting the separable cost. Therefore, we need now to deduct the separable cost. Of course, the separable cost or the cost of further processing is given 12,750 for the first, and for the second 26,250. Of course, with a total of 39,000. Of course, deducting the first from the second would give us the NRV that we are going to use in order to allocate our joint cost. Therefore, 24,000 minus 12,750, 11,250. This is the net realizable value for the first product. And 51,000 minus 26,250 would equal 24,750, which is the net realizable value for the second product. And of course, for the total is 75 minus 39, or 11,250 plus 24,750, which would equal 36,000. Now, according to the NRV, we are going now to allocate the joint cost of $30,000. Therefore, we need to calculate now the weight. Of course, the first would be 11,250 divided by 36,000, which would equal 31.25%. The second would be 24,750 divided by the 36, which would equal 68.75%. And of course, both would always equal 100%. Now we need to use these weights in order to allocate the $30,000. Therefore, the allocated joint costs would equal 30,000 multiplied by 31.25%, which would equal 9,375, and the second would be 30,000 multiplied by 68.75%, which would equal 20,625. Of course, adding these two up would always equal the 30,000, which is the amount that was allocated using these two different weights. Any questions? Therefore, as we can see here, the weights of the first method are calculated using the sales value at the split off point. The weights for the second method are calculated using the physical attributes of the different products after the split off point. The NRV method calculates the weight according to the net realizable value of the different products or the different results of the joint process. Any question? Therefore, as we can see here, it is straightforward. No problems in the allocation or in the methods. Now the last which is the constant gross margin percentage NRV method. Of course, this method needs from us to first of all calculate the gross margin and then go back in order to calculate our joint costs, as of course we discussed in the previous lectures. Now the constant gross margin percentage NRV method. Of course, according to our discussion, we said that there are 3 steps. Step number 1 is to calculate the gross margin percentage for the total production. We need first of all to calculate the gross margin percentage for the total production. Of course, for the total production, we have 6,000, or the final sales value, for total production is 6,000 pounds multiplied by $4 plus 10,200 pounds multiplied by $5, which would equal $75,000. This is the final sales value. Of course, in order now to calculate the gross margin, we need to deduct the costs, the production costs, whether they are separable or joint. Therefore, we need to find all the costs, all the production costs, whether they are separable, therefore the 12,750 and the 26,250, or the joint cost, which is the 30,000. We need to consider all the production costs. Therefore, minus production or total production costs, which are 30,000 plus 12,750 plus 26,250. Of course, the production cost in this case would be $69,000. Therefore, the gross margin is 6,000, and the gross margin percentage would equal the 6,000 divided by the 75,000, which would equal 8%. Now, we need to use the 8% or the percentage of the gross margin here in order to see what would be the cost of the different products that we have. What would be the production costs for the first product, which is the chocolate powder, and the second product, which is the milk chocolate liquor base. Therefore, in order to calculate the production cost of these different products, we are going to assume that each product of these 2 products would have a constant gross margin by the amount of 8%. This is the main assumption of this method. Therefore, if we are going to assume that the first product has a gross margin of 8%, therefore we are assuming that the production cost would be 92% from the sales value, correct? And if we are going to assume that the second product would have an 8% gross margin, that means we are assuming that the production cost also for the second product would be 92% of its sales value. Of course, we have come to the end of this lecture. inshallah, we are going to continue the next time with this problem. And please also try to read problem 1626 so that we are going, or so that we immediately solve it the next time, inshallah. Any questions? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you the next time.